First contact. The alarm klaxons shattered the routine quiet of Outpost Horizon, humanity's furthest venture into the stars. Lieutenant Maya Chen jolted awake in her quarters, the emergency lights pulsing an ominous red. She'd been stationed at this deep space diplomatic hub for 18 months, but nothing in her training had prepared her for what appeared on the main viewport as she rushed to the command center. A massive vessel hung against the backdrop of stars, its hull gleaming with a metallic sheen that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. The ship dwarfed their outpost by at least 20 times, its design unlike anything in Earth's database. "What are we looking at?" Maya asked, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Commander Elliot turned to her, face drawn. "First contact, Lieutenant. They're calling themselves the Kreveshi. Their ship appeared 30 minutes ago, bypassing all our early warning systems." He gestured to the communications officer. "Play the message again." The view screen flickered, revealing a being that caused several officers to step back involuntarily. The alien stood at least 10 feet tall, with a body resembling polished obsidian armor. 4 powerful arms ended in clawed hands, while its head featured multiple compound eyes that glowed with an internal amber light. "Humans of Outpost Horizon," the translation software rendered in a deep, rumbling voice. "I am Droxval, War Commander of the Kreveshi Dominion. Your presence has been noted in this sector. We will board your station for assessment. Resistance would be unfortunate." The message ended abruptly, leaving the command center in stunned silence. "They're requesting permission to dock," the communications officer said. "Well, requesting is generous. More like informing us." Commander Elliot straightened his uniform. "We have no choice. Lieutenant Chen, as our diplomatic specialist, you'll join me in greeting our visitors. The rest of you, standard first contact protocols. No weapons visible, but security teams on standby." An hour later, Maya stood beside Commander Elliot in the main docking bay, watching as the massive airlock cycled open. She fought to keep her expression neutral as 4 Kreveshi warriors ducked through the human-sized doorway. The aliens moved with surprising grace despite their enormous size, their exoskeleton armor clicking softly with each step. The largest of them approached, towering over the human delegation. Up close, Maya could see intricate patterns etched into Droxval's armor, possibly denoting rank or accomplishments. "You are the leaders of this outpost." Droxval's translator device rendered his complex vocalizations into English. Commander Elliot stepped forward. "I am Commander David Elliot, Military Administrator of Outpost Horizon. This is Lieutenant Maya Chen, our diplomatic specialist." The alien commander regarded them with unblinking compound eyes. "Your species is smaller than anticipated. This makes your expansion more concerning." "We mean no threat to the Kreveshi," Maya interjected, earning a sidelong glance from her commander. "We're explorers and traders, seeking peaceful relations with all species." "Peace," Droxval rumbled, the word sounding almost foreign from his translator. An interesting concept from a species expanding into territories beyond their understanding. The Dominion requires assurances. The negotiations that followed in the station's conference room were tense. The Kreveshi demands were extensive. Restricted human expansion, technology transfers, and regular inspections of human outposts that amounted to military occupation. "These terms are completely unacceptable," Commander Elliot eventually stated, pushing away from the table. "They violate our sovereignty and independence." Droxval's upper arms crossed over his massive chest. "Then this discussion is concluded. We will return to our vessel and inform the Dominion Council that humans are uncooperative." The threat hung in the air, unspoken but clear. "Wait," Maya said, rising from her seat. "Commander Droxval, would you be willing to continue this discussion in a less formal setting? Perhaps after a brief recess." The alien's head tilted slightly. "Explain." "In human diplomacy, we sometimes find that understanding can be reached more easily through cultural exchange rather than formal negotiation. I would be honored to show you our observation deck and share some Earth refreshments. Commander Elliot shot her a warning look, but Maya held firm. After a moment of consideration, Droxval inclined his massive head. Acceptable. 1 Earth hour. As the Krivashi delegation left to confer among themselves, Commander Elliot pulled Maya aside. What are you thinking, Lieutenant? These aren't some Federation diplomats you can win over with small talk and snacks. With respect, sir, I don't think they're as inflexible as they appear, Maya replied. I noticed something about their body language. They're uncomfortable here, perhaps even nervous. Nervous? They could crush us without breaking stride. Physical strength isn't everything, sir. Let me try a different approach. Later, Maya entered the observation deck alone, carrying a tray with various Earth foods and drinks. She found Droxval standing before the massive viewport, staring out at the stars, his massive frame silhouetted against the cosmic backdrop. Commander, she said softly, announcing her presence. He turned, compound eyes focusing on her. You come alone. Unwise. Maya placed the tray on a table. If you wanted to harm us, you would have done so already. A rumbling sound emerged from the alien's chest, which Maya's translator didn't interpret. Your species has confidence disproportionate to your size. Perhaps size isn't everything, she replied, gesturing to the tray. I've brought some Earth delicacies. This is coffee, a stimulant we enjoy. These are fruits from various regions of our homeworld. Droxval approached cautiously, examining the offerings. With surprising delicacy, he picked up a cup of coffee between 2 massive claws. Your proposal during negotiations, he said after sampling the drink. It was strategically inferior. Why would you suggest it? Because true diplomacy isn't about winning, Commander. It's about finding common ground where both sides can coexist. The alien was silent for a long moment. The Krivashi do not seek common ground. We secure our interests through strength. And yet you're here, talking with me instead of simply taking what you want. Maya moved to stand beside him at the viewport. That suggests something else at work. As they gazed at the stars together, Maya carefully steered the conversation away from negotiations, instead asking about Krivashi culture, their homeworld, their journeys among the stars. Gradually, Droxval's posture relaxed, his responses becoming longer, more detailed. Your species builds such fragile outposts, he observed, gesturing to the station around them. We work with what we have, Maya replied. Humans adapt rather than dominate. An interesting philosophy. Inefficient, but interesting. Is this your first diplomatic mission, Commander? Maya asked suddenly. Droxval's upper arms stiffened. Is my inexperience so evident? Not at all. It's just that experienced diplomats usually don't lead with their most extreme positions, she smiled. It leaves nowhere to go. The Council expects results, concessions, as does my government, but perhaps we can find solutions that satisfy both without appearing as weakness to either. When they returned to the negotiation table the next day, something had shifted. Droxval's demands, while still firm, had been modified. Instead of occupation, he proposed exchange programs. Rather than restricted expansion, he suggested designated zones and mutual notification protocols. Commander Elliot was astonished but seized the opportunity. By the 3rd day, they had the framework of an agreement that both sides could present to their respective governments. As the formal sessions concluded, Maya found Droxval once again on the observation deck. Your approach was unexpected, he said without preamble. In Krivashi training, we are taught that showing flexibility is weakness. And in human history, we've learned that rigidity leads to breaking, Maya replied. There's strength in adaptation. Perhaps our species have more to learn from each other than the Council anticipated. The massive alien turned to face her fully. The Dominion has encountered 17 spacefaring species. You are the first to approach us without fear clouding your judgment. Not without fear, Maya admitted, but I refused to let it dictate my actions. Droxval extended one massive hand. In his palm lay a small shard of material that resembled his exoskeleton. Among my people, to give a piece of oneself is a mark of respect. This is a fragment of my first molting, carried since my ascension to commander. Maya accepted the gift with careful hands. We have similar traditions. She removed a pendant from around her neck, a small piece of polished amber containing a prehistoric insect. This has been in my family for generations, a reminder that even the smallest creatures can leave their mark on history. The pendant disappeared in Droxval's enormous hand, yet he handled it with surprising gentleness. When I return to the Dominion, I will speak of what I have learned here, he said. The Council may not understand immediately, but they will listen. And I'll ensure Earth understands the Kriveshi better as well, Maya promised. This is just the beginning. As the massive Kriveshi warship prepared to depart the next day, Maya stood with the outpost staff, watching on the viewport. Commander Elliot shook his head in amazement. I still don't understand how you did it, Lieutenant. Maya watched as the alien vessel gracefully turned away from the station. I just remembered that beneath different exteriors, we all share similar needs, to be understood, respected, and heard. As the Kriveshi ship disappeared into the darkness of space, Maya knew that something profound had changed, not just for her, but for the future of human-Kriveshi relations, and it had started with the simple courage to see beyond appearances. Forging alliance. 6 months after the first Kriveshi delegation departed Outpost Horizon, Lieutenant Maya Chen found herself preparing for a most unusual assignment. The preliminary agreement she had helped forge with Commander Droxval had evolved into something unexpected, a cultural exchange program, and she had been selected as the first human representative to visit a Kriveshi warship. Your vital signs indicate elevated stress, observed the medical officer as she completed Maya's pre-departure examination. Having second thoughts, Maya shook her head. No, just the normal anxiety before stepping into the unknown. Well, spending 3 weeks on a vessel full of 10-foot-tall armored aliens who could snap you like a twig seems a reasonable cause for stress, the doctor replied dryly. But your psychological profile suggests you're well suited for this. Your ability to forge a connection with Commander Droxval was remarkable. That evening, as Maya packed her personal items, she carefully wrapped the obsidian shard Droxval had given her. Their communications over the past months had been formal, transmitted through official channels, but she sensed a genuine interest from the Kriveshi commander in human culture and perspectives. The shuttle journey to the massive Kriveshi vessel, the Dominant Claw, took nearly 5 hours from the outpost. As they approached, Maya marveled at the intricate design that hadn't been apparent from a distance. What had seemed like a smooth hull was actually covered in elaborate geometric patterns that served both aesthetic and functional purposes. A small reception party awaited her in the docking bay. 3 Kriveshi warriors, and towering above them, the now familiar figure of Droxval. Lieutenant Chen, he rumbled as she approached. You honor us with your presence. Maya performed the formal Kriveshi greeting. She had studied, crossing her arms in front of her chest and bowing slightly. The honor is mine. Commander, thank you for this opportunity. You remember our greeting customs. Impressive. There was something in his multi-tone voice that her translator didn't quite capture, perhaps approval. I've been studying, Maya admitted, though I apologize in advance for any cultural missteps. As the humans say, it is the thought that counts. Droxval's attempt at the Earth idiom caught her by surprise, eliciting a genuine smile. The following days revealed aspects of Kriveshi society that no official report could have conveyed. Despite their intimidating appearance and martial culture, the Kriveshi possessed a complex social structure built around concepts of honor, duty, and collective achievement. Their ship was not merely a weapon of war, but a self-contained community with areas devoted to art, learning, and even philosophical debate. Maya found herself particularly drawn to their stellar cartography chamber, where 3-dimensional star maps displayed the known galaxy in breathtaking detail. It was there, on her 5th day aboard, that Droxval found her studying the boundaries between human and Kreveshi space. "You find our maps interesting?" he asked, ducking through the doorway. "Fascinating," Maya replied. "Your civilization has explored so much more than humanity has. We have existed as a spacefaring species for 8 of your centuries," Droxval explained, manipulating the controls to zoom out the display. "Yet there remains so much unknown." As they discussed exploration philosophy, Maya noticed Droxval seemed more relaxed than during their initial meetings. His formal military bearing occasionally gave way to what she interpreted as curiosity. "May I ask you something personal, Commander?" Maya ventured after a comfortable silence. "You may ask. I may choose not to answer." "Fair enough. I've noticed the markings on your exoskeleton differ from others of your rank. Do they have special significance?" Droxval's upper arms shifted in what Maya had come to recognize as mild surprise. "You are observant. These patterns identify me as a solitary." "What does that mean?" "Among the Kreveshi, most are born to communal creches raised by the collective. Solitaries are rare, those born outside the normal cycles, raised by individual mentors rather than groups." His massive head tilted slightly. "We are considered unusual, sometimes gifted, sometimes troublesome. So you're an outlier among your own people," Maya said, understanding dawning. "That's why you were willing to consider alternative approaches during our negotiations." "Perhaps," Droxval acknowledged. "Or perhaps meeting a human who showed courage rather than fear was the catalyst." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden alarm. Not the battle station's alert Maya had drilled for, but something different. Droxval immediately straightened, his relaxed demeanor vanishing. "What's happening?" Maya asked, following as he strode quickly toward the command center. "Long-range sensors have detected something unexpected. Stay close." The command center of the Kreveshi vessel hummed with activity as officers reported in their complex native language, too fast for Maya's translator to process completely. The main view screen showed a distortion in space approaching their position. "Report," Droxval commanded, taking his position at the center. "Unknown vessel, Commander. Configuration matches no known species in our database. They are approaching at high velocity and have not responded to hails." Droxval turned to Maya. "Do humans have outposts or exploration vessels in this sector?" "No," she replied, studying the readings. "Nothing this far out. And that design is like nothing in our records." Before further discussion could occur, the unknown ship accelerated dramatically, energy readings spiking across the Kreveshi sensors. "Evasive maneuvers," Droxval ordered. "Battle stations." The massive Kreveshi warship pivoted with surprising agility as energy weapons lanced out from the approaching vessel, narrowly missing their hull. "They've opened fire without provocation," Droxval stated, his voice coldly efficient. "Return fire, targeting their weapon systems only." The exchange that followed was brief but intense. The unknown vessel, while smaller than the dominant claw, possessed technology that seemed to equal or surpass the Kreveshi. After a final concentrated assault that damaged the Kreveshi ship's propulsion systems, the attacker vanished back into the darkness of space as quickly as it had appeared. Damage reports flooded in as emergency teams rushed to contain breaches and fires. Maya found herself automatically falling into crisis response protocols, helping coordinate efforts between different sections of the massive ship. Hours later, with the immediate crisis contained, Droxval called a strategy meeting in the ship's war room. To Maya's surprise, she was included. "Our attacker has been identified," Droxval announced to the assembled officers. "Preliminary analysis matches energy signatures with the Void Striders, a species from beyond the galactic rim. They have been encountered only twice before in Kreveshi history, both encounters resulting in conflict." "What do they want?" one of the officers asked. "Unknown. Their communication attempts have been indecipherable. What we do know is that they appear to target emerging spacefaring civilizations." All compound eyes turned toward Maya. "You believe they're targeting humans?" she asked, understanding the implication. "It is a logical conclusion," Droxval replied. "The attack occurred when a human representative was aboard a Krivashi vessel. They may view our cooperation as a threat." In the days that followed, Maya worked closely with Krivashi communication specialists, attempting to develop a translation matrix for the limited Void Strider transmissions they had intercepted. The work was painstaking, but created an unprecedented level of cooperation between human and Krivashi minds. "Their language structure is unlike anything I've encountered," Maya said one evening, rubbing her tired eyes as she sat with Droxval in his private study. "It's almost as if concepts like peace or cooperation don't exist in their vocabulary." "Perhaps they don't," Droxval suggested, manipulating a three-dimensional representation of the Void Strider vessel. "Some species evolve with different imperatives. But all intelligent life must have some concept of mutual benefit," Maya argued. "Otherwise, how could they form a society capable of developing spacefaring technology?" "Unless," Droxval rumbled thoughtfully, "they are not many individuals but one consciousness controlling many forms." The hypothesis proved insightful. When they adjusted their translation attempts to account for a hive mind structure rather than individual consciousness, patterns began to emerge. Their breakthrough came too late. Just as they began to decipher the Void Strider communications, long-range sensors detected a fleet of the alien vessels on a direct course for both Krivashi and human space. "They're not targeting just humans or Krivashi," Maya realized as they studied the approach vectors. "They're targeting all individualized consciousness in this sector." With propulsion systems still damaged, the dominant claw couldn't outrun the approaching threat. Instead, Droxval made an unprecedented decision. He would share Krivashi defensive technology with humans in hopes of creating a unified response. "This is against all Dominion protocols," he admitted to Maya as they prepared a data package for transmission to Outpost Horizon. "But extinction makes such concerns irrelevant. Our species have more in common than either realized," Maya replied, working alongside him. "Both value independence and self-determination. The Void Striders apparently cannot comprehend such concepts." The plan they developed was audacious, using the dominant claw as bait to lure the Void Strider fleet into a specific region of space where both human and Krivashi reinforcements could spring a trap. The key insight from Maya was that the hive mind would likely be vulnerable to simultaneous attacks from multiple vectors, something independent minds excelled at coordinating. As the Void Strider fleet approached, Droxval found Maya in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. "You should be in the evacuation shuttle," he said, his massive frame silhouetted in the doorway. "The plan requires you to reach your outpost alive with the tactical data." "The shuttle leaves in 20 minutes, she replied without turning. "I wanted a moment to appreciate the view. It might be my last." Droxval moved to stand beside her. "You face possible death with remarkable composure." "Something I learned from studying the Krivashi." Maya smiled up at him. "Courage isn't the absence of fear, but the mastery of it." "You have taught us something as well," Droxval said, his voice softer than she had ever heard it. "That strength comes in many forms, not all of them physical." From a compartment in his exoskeleton, he produced a small object. The amber pendant she had given him months ago, now set in an intricate Krivashi metal framework. "I return this to you," he said, enhanced rather than diminished by its time among the Krivashi. "Much like you." Maya accepted it with a nod of profound understanding. "I'll ensure it survives, along with the knowledge our peoples have gained together." As her shuttle departed the massive warship, Maya watched the dominant claw turn gracefully to face the approaching enemy. Whatever the outcome of the coming battle, she knew that something remarkable had been forged between their species, a connection that transcended biological differences and cultural misunderstandings. In that moment, as one small human carried the hopes of two civilizations away from the looming conflict, Maya understood that true courage wasn't about fearlessness in the face of towering aliens or unknown threats. It was about recognizing the potential for understanding across the vastness of difference and taking the first small step across that divide. The battle that followed would be recorded in both human and Krivishi histories as the beginning of an alliance that would reshape the future of both species. And it had started with one human who dared to see beyond appearances, and one alien commander wise enough to recognize the strength in unexpected places.